Welcome to a journey through American history. Every United States president from the founding to the present has left his mark on the nation's history. Who are these 46 presidents who have shaped the history of the United States? We all know the facts and have seen the portraits, from George Washington to Joe Biden. But what if we could go beyond paintings and black and white photographs? Thanks to modern technology, we have the opportunity to see these leaders as they might have been in their lifetime, capturing their essence and personality. While we may not have perfect shots of every president, these animated recreations give us a glimpse of what they might have really been like. Join us on this unique journey through time where we bring history to life like never before. George Washington was the first president of the United States of America. He established the gold standard, created a strong federal government, and maintained neutrality in foreign affairs. Under him, the Bill of Rights was ratified, the Whiskey Rebellion put federal power to the test, and Jay's Treaty kept the peace with Great Britain. John Adams, a leader with a love of diplomacy, kept the young nation out of war during a quasi-war with France. His presidency saw the passage of controversial exclusionary and sedition laws, the creation of the United States Navy, and the historic relocation of the nation's capital to Washington, D.C. Thomas Jefferson expanded the country's horizons with the Louisiana Purchase, which doubled the size of the United States. He also sent Lewis and Clark to explore the western frontier and face challenges such as the Embargo Act. James Madison, the father of the Constitution, led the nation during the War of 1812 with Great Britain. Despite the burning of Washington, D.C., he saw the nation stronger and more unified than ever. James Monroe, best known for the Monroe Doctrine, which warned European powers against further colonization of America. His presidency marked the era of good feelings, a time of national unity, but was also marked by the Missouri Compromise, which temporarily eased tensions over slavery. John Quincy Adams, son of John Adams, was a brilliant diplomat who envisioned America as a growing and educated nation. Despite opposition, he favored internal improvements such as roads and canals, laying the groundwork for future expansion. Andrew Jackson, a war hero and defender of the common man, changed American politics. His era saw the rise of the Democratic Party, but he is also remembered for the controversial Indian Removal Act that led to the tragic Trail of Tears. Martin Van Buren faced the Panic of 1837, one of the worst economic crises of the time. Although his efforts to stabilize the economy failed, he helped form the Democratic Party and cemented a new political era. William Henry Harrison was the shortest president, only 32 days after contracting pneumonia after his lengthy inaugural address. His short tenure emphasized the importance of presidential health and continuity. John Tyler, the first vice president to hold the presidency, faced opposition from his party but secured the annexation of Texas, beginning America's westward expansion. James Polk is known for fulfilling America's manifest destiny, expanding the nation's borders through the Mexican-American War and acquiring California, Texas, and Oregon. His single term reshaped the country's map. Zachary Taylor, a hero of the Mexican-American War, became president amid rising tensions over slavery. Although he opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories, his sudden death left many questions unanswered. Millard Fillmore signed the Compromise of 1850, hoping to keep the peace between North and South. The controversial Fugitive Slave Act within it only deepened divisions and set the stage for future conflict. Franklin Pierce's presidency saw the signing of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which opened new territories to slavery and led to violent clashes. Despite his intentions, the nation moved closer to civil war. James Buchanan struggled to address the deepening divide over slavery. By the end of his term, Southern states began to secede, setting the stage for the Civil War and one of the darkest chapters in American history. Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most revered leaders, guided the nation through the Civil War and abolished slavery with the Emancipation Proclamation. His assassination in 1865 shocked the world, but his vision of unity lived on. Andrew Johnson took office after Lincoln's assassination, facing the daunting task of reunifying a war-torn nation. His lenient approach to Reconstruction angered Congress, leading to his impeachment, though he narrowly avoided removal from office. Ulysses Grant, the Union war hero, fought to protect the rights of freed slaves during Reconstruction. His presidency was marked by economic growth, but also plagued by corruption scandals among his appointees. Rutherford Hayes ended Reconstruction with the controversial Compromise of 1877, withdrawing federal troops from the South. This move helped heal divisions, but also left African Americans vulnerable to new discriminatory laws. James Garfield was a champion for civil service reform and equal rights, but his presidency was tragically cut short by an assassin's bullet, highlighting the need for changes in presidential security. Chester Arthur surprised many by supporting civil service reform through the Pendleton Act, ending the era of the spoils system and helping to professionalize government jobs. Grover Cleveland served 2 non-consecutive terms, a unique feat in American history. He fought against political corruption and vetoed many bills, believing in a limited role of government, even during economic hardship. Benjamin Harrison presided over a period of economic growth and expanded the nation's borders, welcoming 6 new states into the Union. His support for high tariffs aimed to protect American industries, but proved unpopular with many voters. During his second term, Grover Cleveland faced the Panic of 1893, a major financial crisis. He repealed the Sherman-Silver Purchase Act to stabilize the currency and supported the gold standard. Despite economic hardships, Cleveland upheld fiscal conservatism and limited government intervention. William McKinley dragged America into the Spanish-American War, which resulted in the United States gaining control of territories such as Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. His assassination in 1901 shocked the nation, making way for a new era under Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt, a dynamic and progressive leader, is remembered for the Panama Canal's construction, his square deal domestic policies, and the conservation of national parks. He reshaped the presidency into a force for change. William Howard Taft's presidency focused on trust-busting and reforms, but he often struggled to match Roosevelt's energy. He later found his true calling as Chief Justice, becoming the only president to serve on the Supreme Court. Woodrow Wilson led the United States through World War I, advocating for democracy and self-determination. His vision for the League of Nations aimed for lasting peace, though America ultimately chose not to join. Warren Harding promised a return to normalcy after World War I, presiding over economic growth, but his term was marred by scandals like Teapot Dome, which came to light after his sudden death in office. Calvin Coolidge, known as Silent Cal, oversaw a period of rapid economic growth during the Roaring Twenties. His belief in limited government and low taxes made him popular, but the prosperity of the era masked the looming Great Depression. Herbert Hoover faced the onset of the Great Depression, believing that voluntary action and local efforts could overcome the crisis. However, his inability to stop the economic collapse made him a symbol of hardship for many Americans. Franklin Roosevelt transformed the role of the presidency, leading the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His New Deal programs reshaped the economy, and he became a symbol of hope in America's darkest times. Harry Truman made difficult decisions, from ending World War II with atomic bombs to navigating the start of the Cold War. His Marshall Plan helped rebuild Europe, while the Korean War marked a new era of global American influence. Dwight Eisenhower, a World War II hero, presided over a time of peace and prosperity. He launched the interstate highway system, managed Cold War tensions, and warned against the military-industrial complex in his farewell address. John Kennedy inspired a new generation with his call to ask what you can do for your country. His presidency was marked by the space race, the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the struggle for civil rights. But it ended tragically in Dallas. Lyndon Johnson pushed forward sweeping civil rights legislation and ambitious Great Society programs aimed at eliminating poverty. However, the Vietnam War deeply divided the nation, overshadowing his domestic achievements. Richard Nixon's diplomacy opened the door to China and helped ease Cold War tensions. But the Watergate scandal brought down his presidency, leading to his resignation, the first and only in American history. Gerald Ford sought to heal the nation after Watergate, offering a controversial pardon to Nixon. His presidency faced economic challenges, including high inflation and unemployment, but he is remembered for his integrity and honesty. Jimmy Carter prioritized human rights and energy conservation, but his term was marred by the Iran hostage crisis and economic difficulties. After leaving office, he dedicated his life to humanitarian efforts, earning a Nobel Peace Prize. Ronald Reagan brought a sense of optimism with his conservative Reaganomics policies, which spurred economic growth. His firm stance against the Soviet Union contributed to the end of the Cold War, symbolized by his call to tear down this wall. George Herbert Walker Bush guided the world through the end of the Cold War and led a successful coalition during the Gulf War. Despite these achievements, a recession at home cost him a second term in office. Bill Clinton presided over economic prosperity and a technological boom, balancing the federal budget for the first time in decades. His administration faced controversy with impeachment proceedings, but he remained popular throughout his term. George Walker Bush's presidency was defined by the 9/11 attacks and the ensuing war on terror. He led the nation through wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, but faced criticism during the 2008 financial crisis, which reshaped the global economy. Barack Obama, the first African-American president, brought hope and change to the nation. His landmark Affordable Care Act reshaped healthcare, while his administration navigated the Great Recession and oversaw the mission that eliminated Osama bin Laden. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by economic growth, deregulation, and a fiercely polarized political landscape. He faced challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic, and his refusal to accept the 2020 election results culminated in the Capitol insurrection. Joe Biden took office amidst a global pandemic and political division, focusing on vaccination campaigns and economic recovery. His administration has faced complex challenges like the withdrawal from Afghanistan climate initiatives and navigating global tensions with Russia and China. From George Washington to Joe Biden, each president shaped the story of America. Through challenges, triumphs, and change, They've led a nation through more than 2 centuries of history. Which president's story surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into history.